Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. Yeah! And you better believe if your boy Madaz is back making YouTube videos again, that means some real, serious, epic just went down in the markets. Coronavirus-related stocks have been going absolutely insane. Well, we got CODX, APT, AHPI, Lake, among others, going up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of percent, guys, in such a short period of time. Guys, you guys know what that means for us as traders. That spells opportunity for us to bank some serious coin. Hopefully you guys got a piece of the pie, because I made sure that I absolutely did. On Thursday, making $34,000 trading these coronavirus related stocks. And then of course on Friday, $46,000, doing one better. And simple math, put the numbers together, guys. 2-day totals, $80,000 in profits in just 2 freaking days. Sorry haters, I know you guys keep wishing I'd fail, but you're gonna have to wish a hell of a lot harder than that. Here's the broker statement, February 27th, 28th. You can see right there, almost $80,000 in total profits for just these 2 days alone. Right there on the left side, you can see the ticker symbols I traded for these 2 days. So just like all those other epic live trading videos I posted on YouTube, yeah, this also actually happened. $80,000 in just 2 days. That's an insane amount of money for just 2 days worth of work. That's incredible. That's the power of trading. And that's what trading can do for you if you know what you're doing. And of course, on my end, I recorded the live trading footage on Friday to share with you guys, to show you guys how exactly I did it. Some epic stuff, top to bottom, different types of trades I got on tape this time. So this one's a special one. You guys are not gonna wanna miss it. Unlike the other videos where I'd show maybe 1 or 2 trades, this one is a series of several different types of trades. We got washout longs, we got panic pop shorts, we got losses. You guys want me to show my losses? Okay, we got losses in there for you as well to see how I deal with losses. I got out of a really bad situation where I was down unrealized a pretty large amount of money, and I was able to work my way out of it and turn it into a very large realized profit through a method I call recycling shares. So that's another thing that's really important for you guys to extract from this video. So lots of different variety, lots of knowledge to absorb from this video, hopefully, that I'm sharing with you guys. Hopefully this helps you guys become better traders, but epic action all around, guys. I hope this continues. I don't think this coronavirus stuff is going to go away anytime soon, so I think this is not going to be the end. This is only the tip of the iceberg. More money to come. For the time being, guys, enjoy the live trading footage. It's going to be a long one, but I think this is going to be a really good one for you guys to watch over and over and over again and really extract all the information. Watch it at slow motion. I know it's really fast with the level 2 and all that tape reading stuff, but I think you guys will find this one really enjoyable. So that said, guys, stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss the live trading footage right here on the Madaz Money YouTube channel. No hindsight BS, real live big money trades. Stay tuned. Yo, what's going on, guys? Madaz here. I'm finally back. So glad to be back. Finally making YouTube videos again. Had a lot going on in my life. You guys been following me on Instagram. If you guys have not followed me on Instagram, definitely give me a follow. Check out all the douchebag photos that I post on there. Madaz Lifestyle is my Instagram. Check it out. But I bought a new car at the end of the year. Used some of those profits from November and December for some of the epic action in those couple months, and used it to buy a new F80 M3. Pretty sick car. It actually wasn't new. I bought it used, but I got a really good deal on it. Already started adding lots of mods to it. Tuned the engine to push over 500 horsepower. It's really sick. Having a lot of fun with that. So definitely been playing around with that a little bit. And also I took a trip to Joshua Tree for a little bit of a tech detox. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but it really helped refresh my mind. And just, you know, trading is stressful, man. Sometimes you need something like that. Went up there, meditated, did a lot of hiking, just hanging out, and just checking out the beautiful scenery that was the pristine, untouched nature, vast untouched nature that's That was Joshua Tree National Park. So if you guys haven't been there, definitely it's a bucket list kind of thing, man. It's really really interesting to go out there and see that there's still places on this planet that's still very, very relatively left untouched in its rawest form. So took a quick trip to Joshua Tree. That was another thing that I did. And then the other thing, the other big thing was, of course, upgrading my new day trading setup. I have a new epic day trading setup, which I'm going to make a full dedicated video to talk about, you know, the specs and how much I paid for it. I got a really good deal on everything. But you guys might have seen in the intro for this video that I have 2 more 43-inch monitors. That's why it looks so small in the video, because those monitors are freaking huge. So I'm rolling with 3 43-inch 4K monitors. Freaking amazing. I can't stress enough how much space I freaking have now to just look at charts and level 2 and scanners and all that stuff. I don't have to minimize, move windows around. Everything's just there. It's just really, really nice to have. It's a great investment for the price point that I got it for. So really happy about that. But it did take a while to get set up because the computer that I bought came with a couple of parts that were DOA. So I had to go through a couple RMAs, and that kind of delayed the whole setting up of my computer, which I bought a while ago, by about a month or so, a little bit more than a month. And then, of course, I traveled in between. So that pushed it back a little bit. I've been wanting to make that epic day trading setup video for some time now. But you guys are going to get it probably sometime next week. So stay tuned for that. Really excited. But of course, the talk of the town is the coronavirus. And, you know, it's really unfortunate that something like that's going on in the world. It really sucks. But, you know, life goes on, and we got to carry on and do our job. And unfortunately, with a tragedy like that, and that's an epidemic that's affecting so many people, it does create opportunity in the stock market. And as traders, you know, we have to do our job. And there's lots of plays that popped up recently that's coronavirus related. CODX, APT, API Lake, countless other stocks that were just really, really, really solid opportunities for us to just make a lot of money on. And this week was really, really epic, making $34,000 on Thursday, trading CODX mainly, and then on Friday, trading APT and API and a couple others, CODX again, I believe. So you guys are going to get to watch the video footage, the live trading video footage from Friday, because on Thursday I was just fumbling with the recording software. Again, this new computer took a while to figure out. But Friday got the footage down, and I'm going to be sharing it with you guys. I had to slice it up a little bit. It was like pretty much the entire day. There was no way I was going to make like an 8-hour video, 6-hour video, whatever. But I spliced it up. So there's going to be some cuts here and there. This is actually a cropped version of my screen because, you know, if I made like a 4K screen, I kind of realized that people that are watching on a lower resolution, like 1080p or something like that, it's going to look really small. So that's not going to work out. So I end up just cropping it. So it's going to be jumping around depending on what stock I'm trading. So in case you guys are watching this video and seeing like why is it jumping around so much, it's because I'm cropping the screen and then just switching from stock to stock, depending on what I'm in and what I'm not in. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into the footage. Again, the coronavirus stocks, really epic. We're going to start the video right after the market open. 2 days in a row, the stocks just dumped at the open and it instantly halted. Apparently, this is a new thing, by the way. This is a new thing. Apparently, they got rid of the 20% halt bands. Usually before, between 9:30 a.m., which was market open, until 9:45, the halt bands, circuit breaker halt bands, were 20%, which means the stock needed to move 20% for it to halt. But now they halt 10% the entire day. So I was wondering what the heck was going on CODX on Thursday. The stock instantly halted at the open. If you guys were trading, you guys must have been wondering what the heck was going on. Is there some sort of weird manipulation going on or something like that? But apparently, starting on the 24th on Monday, they got rid of the 20% halt bands. I did not know that. So thankfully I didn't just jump in for the washout long there. So that's something to really take note of. It might affect a lot of things. But I think that should offer some more halt resume washout longs. So that was nice. I got a halt resume washout long win on Thursday because of that instant halt. And then likewise on APT, there are more opportunities on that as well. A couple things I also want to note. Some people keep asking me what these things are. This is the gap stats from our newest partner, Scripts to Trade. Definitely check them out. Link in the description. They're doing some pretty good stuff, creating some pretty unique and innovative indicators. But these gap stats are really, really useful. You know, it really cuts down on research time. You just look at them real quick. It tells you, like, you know, how often does stock gap over 20%? How often does it close below the open and stuff like that? Really useful information, so you guys can have a good idea of how to trade the stock, and the information's all right there at your fingertips, right there. So you don't have to do any other research. So that's pretty cool. And a lot of people have been asking me what broker I use to get all the borrows for all the stocks I've been getting borrows from lately. Of course, I've been trading at Centerpoint Securities. Thanks a lot for being really, really awesome and sending me this swell bottle. Centerpoint Securities have been my broker now for 4 years. And hold on a second, guys. It's really hot in California. Really abnormally hot weather, so it's really nice to have a nice little swell bottle. But Centerpoint Securities, they've been my broker for some time now. Really awesome, amazing borrow list, great guys, and really awesome customer support. They got amazing routes, platforms, so link in the description for them as well. If you guys got any other questions, feel free to email me about anything, max@madazmoney.com, but the link to everything should be in the description. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the footage. We're going to go ahead and play this at 4x speed just for with respect to time. You guys are more than welcome to slow it down and watch it at normal speed later on for like rewatching this when you want to rewatch this video, because there's a lot of rewatch value in this. There's a lot going on. Again, there's washout longs, panic pop shorts, classic vintage Madaz strategy. And then, of course, the losses that I end up taking. And then there's a couple, there was a situation where I was badly stuck on APT when I was dumping, and I was down a pretty penny on it. It was dumping a lot further than I expected, and I had to work my way out of it. So lots to learn, so let's go ahead and jump right to it. All right, so we're going to pick up APT right here. APT is currently halted again at the open. Halt bands are now 10%, so it dropped and halted instantly. Again, this is at 4x speed. Let's go ahead and see what happens here on the resumption. Stock should resume here. Let's speed up so we can get close to the resumption. I think it was like maybe a 10-minute halt. Was it a 10-minute halt? No, 30 seconds. All right, should resume here. There we go, resumption and APT. So we're looking for maybe a dip buy against 30. Stock's bouncing a little bit. If it pops back up, maybe a short against that line right there at 37s. But the stock is dipping a little bit lower. Still up 30% on the day. So you see me with the dip buy there at 33.975 thousand shares. Just going for that dip buy. Also make note, the TOS charts were really, really laggy at the open. I think a lot of people were complaining about the same thing. I think that they just couldn't handle the data, the influx of data. So a lot of people had frozen charts, not just on Thinkorswim, but lots of other platforms were experiencing lots of delay and lag. I just think they were not ready for the market crash and all that stuff. Obviously, the market's been going down a lot, and that's been creating a lot of volatility. So I think the data servers for these platforms weren't prepared for that. But yeah, about the dip here, you see that I'm in at 33.97, just looking for that quick bounce. Reason why I'm buying it there, because there's that support level at $33. So I'm just buying off that 33 support level, going for that quick scalp. So 33.97, stock's bouncing up to 36. You see right there, closing the trade for a quick five figs, $10,000 in just like a couple minutes. So quick classic washout long trade there, guys, on APT, going for that washout against 33, buying the dip, selling the rip, up in that pop toward 37, just buying support, selling resistance, simple as that. Classic Madaz washout long. So right out the bat, within a couple minutes of my trading day, I'm already up 5 figs. Nice little cushion, always nice to be up a nice amount of money, so that way you got your mindset in the right place. Now going short here off that fake halt, you see the stock tried to rip there up to 38. It was about to trigger the upside halt, but then it rejected off the fake halt. Going short against that 38 level, that line 38, and so we got that reject, 2,500 shares. Now, the reason why I'm in 2,500 shares on the short, because there's also that possibility that I might go up to 45. The stock still technically is in an uptrend, so technically it's bullish. So I'm basically going against the trend a little bit here, but it's right at resistance. It's made a panic pop move right to resistance. So I'm willing to see if we can get a nice little reject for a quick couple bucks. But I'm not going in the same size I was in on the long because of the possibility that I could go to 45, 49. The next level is up. So given the stock that's still technically bullish, shorts are still caught. You see the shorts are obviously in a bind here. The stock is gapping up from the move yesterday, so shorts that are overnighting are down, and there are probably shorts that are down even from today, slamming that low. So we gotta be respectful of that, and let's see what happens with this position. So again, I'm short at 37.10. You see right there on the left side my position. Stock's kind of dancing around this $37 area real quick. Now I'm up on the position. There we go. 5 grand. About 8, 7, 8, almost $9,000. I didn't take it though, but this is where I probably should have taken it. Got a little greedy there. I was thinking it might flush below 33 there for a second. It looked like it was kind of weak there on the tape. The bids are falling off, but then they kind of reclaimed the bid here. But I'm still up nicely. Got a little cushion on this trade. So it's always nice to be in the money unrealized. So that way, you know, you got a much more easier time managing a winning position than a losing position, of course. So there we go, locking it in. Looked like it wasn't going to break 33 there, so I just took it off for a quick $5,500. So as you can see right there, not even 15 minutes in the day, about $15,617. Pretty nice way to start the day. 2 trades, 2 wins on APT, flipping both long and short. And yeah, pretty nice start. But right now it's you know, kind of indecisive a little bit here. It's kind of holding that 33 level. You know, we're basically bouncing between this 33 to 37, 38 range. So just playing off that range and just taking advantage of the fluctuations between those two prices. Let's see if I took another trade here. I'm not sure if I did. Yeah, it's still kind of dancing around here, so there's real no opportunities. All right, so I'm shifting the focus to AHPI. I bought the dip here at 31.99. You can see the support level right there around 28, but I'm playing off that 30 psychological whole number, looking for a bounce off that level. And you can see this is actually going to be a mistake. This is going to be one of the losers that I make on the day. We'll see in a second how this impacted the way I kind of managed this trade. So I've gotten a little bit early. Now I'm down. The reason why I end up selling here for basically a $5,000 loss, because it looked like it was going to halt. And you can see that the support level is from 28. The next one below is 22. If this thing halts and I'm in 2,500 shares from $31 and it opens at 22, that's a big loss. So going in a little bit too early kind of messed up with my management there in terms of just being able to hang on to this position, because right now it looked like it was going to halt, right? Look at that. So I would have been down a little bit more. And then if it halted, there was a chance that it might open gapping down to $22. So I just couldn't take that risk. End up taking the loss there. So I'm back only up $10,000 on a day. But then the funny thing is they look like it was going to halt there, and now they're going to fake halt it, and it's going to bounce back up. So, you know, in hindsight, obviously I would have made money on this trade because it's going to bounce back up right here, as you'll see. But I don't regret this decision, because there are lots of instances where I've seen where the stock would ended up halting. And, you know, it ends up gapping down. You end up losing a lot of money. So in this particular case, I think I was just a victim of just jumping in a little bit too early there. Probably should have waited for 28s, 29s or something like that, closer to that line. And I would have been up nicely on this trade, probably another 5 figs. So that was my mistake there. End up taking the loss. No big deal. Nothing I can't recover from. So just going to show this footage real quick to see that it did indeed bounce, and would have been up nicely. It's going to upside halt and end up actually bouncing all the way up to like $40, $45 or something later on. So now it's halted. So now back to APT, and we're looking at APT still kind of dancing around this range. It did break over 40 for a second, and then it couldn't sustain that move. You can see that I hit 35 real quick. I usually don't do this. I usually don't slam the bid like this, but it looked like they were going to break down 35 there. So we're going to see if we get a quick flush there below 35. You know, we got some bag holders on the long side that were trapped over 40. I probably chased the stock. So now I got some possible downside toward at least 33, so I can get maybe 2 points out of it. So you see that 34, there's a bid prop there, a bid stack for 34. So let's see if those hold. So again, guys, if you guys are new to my channel, I watched this thing. This is called the level 2 or the montage. This is what I'm looking at 90% of the time. So I'm saying there's a bid stack. This is what I'm talking about. The bid stack here at 34. This is propping up the stock, but it's not creating enough of a reaction to the upside for me to be convinced that this is a real bid. So let's just see. Yeah, so it's taken out. You see that? So the bid just got taken out. So once you see that, that's going to probably signal weakness to the downside. But usually what you need to see though is sustained action. Sometimes they do that and they kind of bring the bid back, but in that particular case, they brought the bid back for a second and got whacked again. So I end up taking it off here on this flush toward 30. Oh, I didn't take this off. I actually took another position there in HPI, which is off the screen for a second. I ended up hitting that. The reason why I'm not showing it is because I'm only in 800 shares, so a little bit insignificant position. But I'm still in APT here, and you can see that I'm up 3,900 bucks on the trade, 35 entry, 2,500 shares. I'm looking for a 33 flush. 33 again was that critical level. 33 being the support level right here. You see now it's cracking 33. I'm up $4,250. Which is pretty cool. I'm looking for a flush down toward $30 because that's the next support level right here, which is the pre-market lows. So let's see if we get that flush down to 30. See, more downside pressure, downside momentum, and you see that it's about to close into a downside halt. The halts are now at 31.09. You see right there, and this is what I'm going to cover here. You see me already covering, locking in back basically a little bit more than the loss on HPI, making that back. Now I'm up almost $17,000. So I'm already out. The reason why I took it off is because I don't want to hold it through the halt, just in case it does indeed gap up. It's close enough to $30 for me to take it off, getting out there around that $31 area. So nice little trade there. I usually don't slam the bid, but that was pretty cool. So now back to AHPI. I'm currently in again at $35. You can see the reason why I'm in there is because the stock dropped close to $30, $31. It popped back right there. 35 is around this mark right here. Started this little micro pop. The volume is kind of light, so I only went for 1,000 shares. Ended up only filling 812 shares. But look at see how epic this volatility is. I'm only in 800 shares, but I'm up $2,400. So that's pretty sick. We're looking for a flush back down toward $30, $28. So let's see how that plays out. Basically a lower high and then a reject. Both AHPI charts and the APT chart kind of looking the same way, and breaking out over resistance for a little bit, not able to sustain, and kind of just pushing back down there, trapping some longs. There you see 31s. There you go. So now the stock's below 32. We got a wall there at 33. 31's getting taken out. Now you see 30s on the bid. So the stock's really dropping off. I'm up $3,000, up on only 812 shares short from 35. Look at that. Look at that. Try to cover here at 30 on this low flush over this, just to get out before this halt level. You see me, I'm still in. I filled a couple shares there. I only got 312 shares left. Got a partial. And there we go. I'm out the rest there. $4,000 on 800 shares. That's insane. What a nice trade there. I've only got filled at 1,000 shares. Would have got a couple extra bucks, but not going to complain, guys. Look at the time. A little bit over an hour. I'm up $21,000 on the day already. So pretty sick. HPI is now halted. So really epic action, guys. You see so far. I've taken a couple of trades. One loss. I think like it was at 4 trades. 3 wins, 1 loser. Really, really awesome stuff. Or was that 5 trades? Whatever it was. So a lot of people on Twitter or whatever saying that it's not possible to have the win rate that I have. I mean, I'm just demonstrating right here in this live trading example over these series of trades right there. Was it 4 wins, 1 loss so far? And I'm up $21,000 in just a little bit over an hour. So it just shows you that it's very possible to do this, but you got to know what you're doing, obviously, right? You got to be able to recognize the overall bias of the stock. Right now, the stock is technically overall in an uptrend, but right now, in the short term, it's in a downtrend. You got some overhead resistance now at 40, 45 on APT up to 49. It's looking kind of heavy on the tape. You got some sellers. You had a bid prop earlier that couldn't push the stock higher. So, you got a lot of sellers stepping in here. So we're going to stay short bias for the time being. If there's a big flush, we'll scalp the long. But in the meantime, if you see these weak pops, weakness on the pop kind of pushes up to a resistance level and kind of fizzles out, stalls out. That's usually where I would look to get back in short for another opportunity. So we're back on APT here. I'm short again, $32 on this little pop. You can see that this is the prior resistance level right here. And then this thing might pop up to 35, 38, whatever, but taking a star there, you see only 1,000 shares just because the risk reward is a little bit lower. I don't want to get smoked. Added another 1,000 shares there in the 33s. And currently down in the position right now, but again, I'm in a lot smaller than I was before. So the stock's bouncing a lot more than I expected. Now I'm in 3,000 shares, 33.12 average. See, we get that reject off 35. 35 is a nice whole number. 35 is also the area where it bounced from here as well. We also got VWAP at 36.66. So again, 33.12 average. I'm not down really that much on the position, so it's not a big deal. I'm up $21,000 on being down like $1,000 or $2,000 is not the end of the world. So we see we get any stall, any selling pressure. We see the stack there at 34 on the offer. We got a big seller there at 34.5. So let's see if that adds to the downward momentum, downward pressure to push the stock lower. I'm not down that much in the position again, so it's very easy for me to manage this. Let's see if these 34s hold up here as a wall. You see that I went over 34 for a second, but then instantly rejected back down. There's still some sellers there. It's struggling here around this 34 area. Bids are trying to hold it up. Let's see if it pushes. I'm still in the position. I tried to stop out there, it looked like, but let's just see. It's pushing to 36. I'm still at the, I actually stopped out at half. So this is a good example of me scaling in and scaling out of a position. If the stock kind of pushes past a point where I feel like I'm not comfortable being in full size anymore, what I do is I take off half. This is what I call recycling shares. So this is a good example of that. This is the first example where I get out of half of my position and then I try to add higher. If we get a push a little bit higher, I can re-add those same shares I stopped out for a smaller loss, and then I get my average up, and then once the real move happens, then I'll be more positioned appropriately and with a much better average, and I will be able to manage the trade with a much more clearer mindset. So let's see what it does here. So I'm now only in 1,500 shares. I stopped out, I think, on that 35 break. I'm re-adding here on this pop over around this 35.5 area. So let's just see what happens here. My average is now 34.45, a little bit better this time. Still being cautious on this trade. Obviously, this can go back to $40, $38, $40, something like that. 36 wall there. $36 wall. Got hacked at for a little bit, but you see instant selling pressure for now. There's a 35 bidder. 35 bidders getting whacked at. And there you go. 35 bidders gone. And next thing you know, the bids drop. And then now I'm probably going to be in the green on this trade. So let's see what happens. 34s. Let's see if those get taken out. See the down ticks on the offer. Now, as the stock is just dancing around my break even, I'm not going to be freaking out. This bidder trying to bid it up there at 34.5, but then he just gets taken out there. Try to short APHPI, you saw there, it didn't get filled. See, this 34 bidder holds up. If it flushes, it's going to flush pretty hard. These guys right here. So it's still holding up for now, but I'm still not really down that much. I'm only down like 50 cents on the position, so it's not really that big of a deal. But the range is tightening now. The volume's getting lower. You can kind of see that the action's getting a little bit more muted. We look at the time of day. It's 11 o'clock. We're almost at lunch hour. So at this point, I'm thinking about just scaling back my positions a little bit until we get some more action, more range. See that once the action starts getting kind of sketchy and the range gets a little bit muted, it's time to probably start scaling back and stop trading a little bit and just wait for the next big opportunity. But you still see that 35 seller keeps stepping in here. See, you get that 34 flush now. There we go. You see that? Once those 34 bidders got whacked out, you got the downside momentum. Now I'm up in the position. Trying to cover some 33.9s. So I got out of most of the position.
At this point, I felt like, the range is just a little bit too muted. 33s are holding up. It didn't flush that violently. And now I'm officially, see, am I out of the position or? Nope, got a couple hundred shares left. And I'm officially all out of the position. So made back some of the loss from earlier, and now I'm up 19.7 on the day. Not too bad. But I just felt like at this point the action's getting a little bit muted. Just wanted to be out of the position, be all cash, sit on my hands for a second and wait for the next big opportunity. So now I'm all cash. Let's speed things up, see if we get the next trade, because I'm not sure if I took another trade here. All right, so we're back to AHPI. So I probably took a trade here. Let's see what happens. Now AHPI is also losing its range. It's also losing its volume. HPI, I'm currently in 500 shares at 35.454, 500 shares. So you see how much downsizing I'm doing now at this point. I'm just looking for a quick scalp for a couple bucks. This is just what I would call, if you guys have been following me on Twitter, this is what I typically call my wallet patters. Just trying to just snipe a couple points here, scalp a couple points, or a 1 point or whatever. Get a quick couple $100. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy. There we go. It's going down. There we go. Taking it off there. I think maybe like $600 or something. So back up, back to basically where I was before. Over $20,000 on a day. 2 hours in. Nice little quick scalp there for a quick couple bucks. It is a little bit more illiquid, so I just wanted to get out before the spread got nasty on me on AHPI. So now we're shifting focus to APT. I think this is where the crazy trade happens here, guys. You might want to pay attention. If you're going to pay attention to anything in this video, this is the place to pay attention to. So right now we're looking at APT. I'm looking for a bounce around this $23 area. You can see this is the big resistance that acted as support at the end of the day here in this afternoon, before this afternoon squeeze. I'm expecting a bounce from that level, but APT ends up behaving really weird. So let's just watch this. This is the trade where I was down a pretty penny, and a lot of you guys might get scared, but I was able to get out of this because, I kind of figured it was going to bounce at some point, and there's a lot of support right here, and you'll see eventually how I managed to get out of this by recycling shares and getting my average down. So we're going to speed this up a little bit. It's going to resume here. So it's resumed gapping down. It's now $25. It's going down. Try to fill 24s, no fill. Looking for the bounce off that 23 area. It's going down a little bit more, about 23.5. It's going down even more so. So now I'm already down in the position. On this one, I'm like, oh man, it's going down a lot more than I expected. Not gonna lie. So for the second time today, kind of jumped the gun a little bit trying to buy that dip. The stock did free fall from $33 all the way down to $23. I mean, that's a 10-point drop. Usually you would expect a bounce from that level, but it didn't do it. So sometimes you just gotta expect the unexpected and then devise a plan and figure out how you can get out of this. So right now, APT is currently halted. We're going to just fast forward this real quick. I think it's halted for like 10 minutes. All right, should resume here. Okay, so it's going to resume here. It's going to open lower. Okay, it doesn't resume here. I think this is when it was halted for 15 minutes. So let's fast forward this again. All right. All right, it's resumed. You can see that it's resumed. It's gapping even lower. And I buy more. And now I'm in 10,000 shares of this stock at a 22.15 average. And I'm trying to go for a bounce off that 20 psychological whole number. That's another support area. You see this is basically where there is resistance here as well that's acted as support before this part of the squeeze. So I'm looking for a bounce. This stock's already free falled from $33 down to $20. You would expect in most cases that a stock that drops from 33 down to 20 that would give you at least a couple points of a bounce. So let's see what happens here. It does indeed bounce a little bit. But you can see now only down $500. But the problem here is it kind of stalls out at 22. And it skips to 23 and I'm up 12,000 really quick, right? You see that? That's freaking awesome, right? But you see what happens is I try to sell and I'm a little bit too slow apparently and I missed the fill. So this is a pretty bad mistake because look what happens here. Try to sell again, no fill. And look at this, the tape starts acting really heavy again. There's sellers all over the place. There's big offers, and look at that, it's down to $19. I'm down $25,000. So that was a pretty shitty situation. This is what happens when you are too slow on the trigger. I had a chance to get out for a $12,000 win. Now I'm staring down the barrel of a gun looking at a big loss. So it's a pretty shitty situation. And let's see how I manage this because usually I don't miss fills like that. I tried to stop out of a couple there at 19 before the halt. I got filled. I stopped out, managed to stop out of about 8,000 shares, realizing I lost. Now I'm only up $2,000 on a day. I wanted to get out as much as I could because there was a chance this thing might halt and gap down lower, which it actually does. So this is how you recycle shares, guys. If you guys realize that you're wrong, you don't want to stay wrong. That's what I always tell my guys in the Madaz Money chat room, the Madaz Money community. If you're going to be wrong, don't stay wrong, okay? In most cases, the stock would have bounced, but there's something going on. Maybe there's some hedge fund guy that's dumping a gazillion shares. I don't know that, but the tape doesn't lie. You saw the level 2, there was nonstop selling. Every single time the stock tried to bounce, the bounce got overwhelmed. That's when I kind of realized, okay, this is not going to bounce where I expected it to bounce. I got to recycle the shares. But you can see there's lots of support here. There's a lot of congestion from the previous day. 40 million shares traded. This is the daily chart. 40 million shares traded. So, you know, the stock, I'm still expecting to bounce anywhere in this little area right here, you know, be it 16, 17, whatever, $18. So that's where I'm expecting to bounce. And this is how I'm going to recycle the shares. I'm in at a 22.5 average. I managed to get out of 80% of my position. And I'm going to re-add these shares back around these levels. I'll get my average down and I'll be able to get out of the trade alive. So this is what I'm going to do here. On the resumption, we'll see what happens. I'm going to fast forward this again. Right now, it looks like I took a trade here on CODX. So let's see what I do here. CODX halted and resumed. CODX, I actually wanted to buy this dip. I wanted an 11 flush to 10s, and it didn't happen, and I missed this bounce. So that was kind of a wasted opportunity. I wanted to get in with like 10,000 shares there. It would have been up like $30,000. Would have been really sick. But I ended up going for a short instead because it bounced pretty nicely. This is like a 30-40% bounce. So I end up going short here on this little bounce. And you see right here, should see me take the position shortly. There we go. I'm in CODX, 10,000 shares at 14.51. So I'm in CODX there, 10,000 shares. Leaving some room for another add to 16. That would be probably the last spot it would bounce to. It's currently halted again. Keep an eye on APT. So I have APT now on the left side here. APT and CODX. They're side by side. But right now, I'm currently still on the hook for a loss on APT. And I'm currently, I don't know why it shows that I'm up. I'm actually down on it. Probably because of the halt levels or whatever. But CODX, I'm currently in 10,000 shares, 14.51, leaving some room, leaving one bullet to add at 16. As you can see, this is a major resistance, prior support acting as resistance, the prior low day. I'm expecting to reject from that level. So right now we're going to watch APT. I think it's going to resume here in about a couple minutes. Let's fast forward it. Okay, so Codex has resumed. I'm up nicely on the trade. APT is still halted. Sometimes stocks halt a lot longer than they usually do because then they're probably going to gap down a large amount. So there goes APT resumption. I re-add a couple APT shares. You see APT is now down to $17. I'm down $20,000 again, which is not cool. It's approaching that area where I think it's probably going to bounce from. So let's see what happens. At this point now, the stock has dropped from $33, $35 even, all the way down to $18. I'm talking about a 50% drop. You're going off of basically the highs, the pre-market highs and the high of day. You're talking about a drop of like 60% more. So it's a pretty insane drop. Things due for a bounce at some point. I'm back in 16,000 shares. I managed to get my average down from what it was a 22 average down to 19, which is a lot better to deal with. I'm still down a pretty penny, but if it bounces viciously, it's probably going to bounce and I'll be able to get out alive. So recycling those shares, getting out of those 8,000 shares, re-adding back in. I got a lot more high degree of confidence that will bounce from this congestion area. There's a lot of support, a lot of volume traded that day. If it does not bounce from this area, something's really wrong. At that point, I would have to just eat the loss and just deal with it. But at the same time, I'm gonna be in a good spot here on Codex. You'll see in a second. Right now, again, I'm still in APT. It's still dancing around the 17 area for a little bit too long. But yeah, it is a little bit scary. You see right there, I'm actually down like almost $40,000. This is not cool, but again, this is the last area of support where it has to bounce. If it doesn't, I just got to eat it. Now, in the grand scheme of things, a lot of you guys might say like, well, whatever, bad risk management, whatever, this and that, right? Guys, I've been doing this for 9 years. I'm taking this type of bounce trade like a million times. And you guys seen in my other YouTube videos where I go over the bounce play, I end up making like $50,000, $20,000, $30,000. I have like over a 90% win rate on this trade, this type of trade, guys. So if I were to lose $40,000 one time, but I make like $20,000 to $50,000 like the other, 9 times, in the grand scheme of things, you got to look at it as a whole holistically. Does it really matter? Once in a while things aren't going to work. There's no foolproof 100% strategy, but in the end you'll still see me manage this really well, and I'll get out of this alive because this is the final bounce spot. And again, recycling shares. You got to take your losses so you can position yourself. If you're holding the stock and it's at $16 and you're holding it with a 22 average and you're like doubling down repeatedly, you're going to blow up for sure, because you're not going to be able to sustain that kind of position size. You're going to be way oversized to the liquidity. You're not going to have enough buying power. You're going to run out of buying power to buy more shares at some point. And you're going to put yourself in a really bad spot if this is going to be one of those 1 out of 10 times where it doesn't work. Again, I can absorb this type of loss. Most people can't. But again, I'm still able to manage to get out of this, getting my average down. You'll see in a second. Again, the stock is not looking good. Not going to lie. It's not looking good. But the fact that it drops so much, 35 down to 16, I'm still confident that it's going to bounce at some point. Again, I'm still also in Codex as well. So I'm managing 2 trades right here. You see that stock really trying to bounce here off the 16 area. I add more here at 17. Now I'm in 19,936 shares, basically 20,000 shares. 18,670 average now. The stock's now dancing around this $18 area, so I'm not down as much anymore. So you can see that at one point I was down $39,000, and now I'm only down $2,000 by virtue of just getting out of my position there earlier, getting my average down, right? And then recognizing that this area is the last area of support where it probably will have to bounce from. If it's not going to bounce there, something is really wrong. So you'll see now I'm basically hit green there at some point. Still looking weak here at 17. But, with an 18 average, it's a lot easier to manage. And again, if I have to eat the loss, and so be it. You got to look at it as a whole. Most of the time, I'm making good money on these trades, and I will continue to take these trades in the future. So now it's back to 16. It's still acting kind of heavy, but it's refreshing the 17 bid, which has me thinking that it might probably run pretty well. You got this 13 flush here on Codex, which is pretty sick. So I'm in at 14.51, and I'm covering here at $13. So that's a $15,000 win, which is really, really nasty. So basically covered most of that. So back now up $17,000. APT still hanging on for dear life here. We're watching to see if the 17 bidder keeps coming back. 16.6, there's a bidder there. And then we'll watch to see if this ask lightens up. You see that 17s are back on the bid. So now looks like they're supporting the bid a little bit better. You got a bidder there briefly at 17.89. There's a big ask there at $18. 17.50. There's 4,000 shares. To see those guys get taken out. That guy gets taken out. There's bidders over 17. I still want to see bidders over 17 to make sure this thing's actually going to confirm this bottom here at $17. There's a bidder there at 18. Asked a seller there at 18. There's more bidders now at $17. So again, we're watching to see if they're going to support this. You see how it went below 17 for a second, but the bids instantly refreshed in a matter of seconds. So that's a good thing to see. That's what I'm watching for. I'm watching to see if the 17 bidders for real. There we go. Next thing you know, now you got bidders up to 17 nines. That big offer at 18. Let's see if it gets taken out. There we go. 18's taken out. Boom. There we go. You see that? That's exactly what I wanted to see. There we go. 17 nines. Trying to sell there. I sold a couple there at 18 nines. Selling out the rest there on this little pop. 200 shares left. So I'll see if I can hold the 200 shares for a bigger win. So that's how you get out of that position there, relatively unscathed. I was down like $40,000 unrealized. I managed to get out basically for like a $1,000 loss in the end. Could have waited there for a better sell. I think at this point my mindset was a little bit messed up because, you know, that hidden seller was scaring me. I was afraid he would come back. So at that point, I'm thinking, man, if this guy starts selling again and drops back to 16, I'm going to be screwed. So I end up selling this a little bit too early. Now I'm flipping short on this pop. And you'll see me how I manage this short position. I end up doing the same, kind of like the same thing. End up getting a little bit too early. So right now, the whole idea with recycling shares is I got to understand the whole big picture idea for the trade. So right now, the stock before it was dropping from $35, $40 down to $16. You would expect a bounce because that's a pretty sizable drop. If you're expecting a bounce, it's going to be difficult to pick the dead bottom. So what you do is you scale in and you take losses where you need and get your average down until you're comfortable with the better average. So again, I took the start at 23.5. I managed to stop out, take losses on the way down, and get my average down to about $18. And in that position myself to get out basically alive on this trade. Now on the short, I end up doing the same thing. Now it's going to bounce back. The stock is overall in a downtrend. You can see that it's broken VWAP. It's broken all these supports. So I'm looking for a bounce, scaling on this bounce up to around maybe $25 right there. This is where a lot of the volume happened. So 23, 24, 25. I'm aiming to get my average around there. If it rejects around this 19 area, I just want to get a piece of the pie in case it rejects. If it ends up going further, I just take the loss, come back in, same thing. So this is how you manage this entire sequence, going from being down unrealized to just managing it well, doing the right thing, and just, you know, working your way out of a logjam. Now, granted, obviously, those weren't the best entries. Maybe I should have just waited for a wash toward 20 earlier, so I would have had a better entry to begin with, so I wouldn't have to take the loss. But sometimes, you know, things don't work out the way you planned. I expected to bounce around 23. It didn't happen. I missed a sell. That was also something that kind of screwed it up, missing the sell. I usually don't miss fills, but missing fills is part of the trading. And then getting stuck in a halt to the downside, stuff like that. So right now I'm short 10,000 shares right now at 19.45. Again, this is not the best average, but I'm going to work my way out of it. Again, I'm not perfect. I don't always make the best trades. I'm just showing you guys what happens when I make, you know, not the best decision and how to get out of it and I end up making a profit. All right. So again, I was down to like what, $2,000. I managed to get up back to 17,000 because of that Codex trade. I managed to get out of APT, that bad long. I would have been up a lot now if I held on to it, but again, because of the whole, you know, hidden seller there earlier that kept just selling nonstop, I got kind of spooked and I sold it for basically a small loss. But I was able to get out of that one again relatively unscathed. Now I'm short, looking to short this dead cat bounce basically. Overall, there's so many bag holders on this stock now. This stock should bounce back up and then reject at some point. That seller is probably going to step back in. I'm going to be looking for him on the level 2. So again, this is not the best entry for me. I'm admitting that. But I'm going to show you guys how I get out of this. And I'm going to end up making a lot of money on this trade despite with this bad entry here, bad price. All right, so let's watch how this plays out. So again, now the stock is holding over 20. I have a 19.45 average, so I'm down about $1 a share. I'll probably stop out if it breaks over a certain point here. I'm not sure where I stopped out, but I did stop out and then re-hit. SSR is a tricky part. Short sell restriction makes it so that you can't hit the bid when you want to go short. So I'm gonna have some difficulty, getting back in with my position. But I do my best to try to get to filled as many shares as I can. So I end up stopping out there at 21. You see my position now has been reduced because it's not doing what I expected to do. Kind of just reject this 21, 20 area. There's too many bids supporting it over 20. So I eat the loss. I'm still up $9,000 on a day, no problem. We'll look to re-add higher. Now it's over 21. So that was a good stop out. This is how you recycle shares, guys. Recycling shares. Sometimes you kind of screw up your first entry, and this is how you get out of it. So the mistake a lot of people make is they keep doubling down. Again, you don't want to double down or martingale your way out. And if you guys don't know what martingaling is when you like double your bet every single time. You double down your loser or whatever. It just doesn't work that way. What you want to do is you want to have a predetermined max position size. I think on APT, my max position size is 20,000 shares. So I'm just playing with those 20,000 shares. I'm not going to exceed the 20,000 shares. If I end up going over 20,000 shares, I'm going to stop out of some. Right now, I'm allocating 10,000 shares for this leg of the trade because obviously there's a lot of bounce room for this thing to go up to $25. So if I'm overcommitted with 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 shares here at around $20 and it goes to 25, that's a pretty bad spot to be in, right? So right now, I'm just managing this 10,000, cutting it down to 5,000 just in case, and re-adding higher if needed. Get that average up. Now I got my average back up. Adding here against that 22 area is a little bit of a wall. So we're trying it again at 22. Now my average is at 20.61. Bids there at 22. So I'm probably going to stop this out shortly. Let's see what happens. There's a bidder there. So I'm not liking this at the moment. So again, guys, I'm not perfect. I'm just showing you guys how I get out of this position. There's this bit of a stall there at 23. So I do one more add there at 23. 23 is that first level right here. 23 is this line right there. So let's see if it stalls at that level. You see that it rejects a little bit. So now I'm basically down only a couple cents on the trade. Close to break even. So going off that 23 stall, that's another possible reject spot, and then it's 25 after that. Had it gone over 23, I probably would have taken off that ad. It would have been a make it or break it kind of trade. So now I'm up $10,000, $11,000 on the trade, being down to being up. There we go, 20. So you see that I'm up. You see me cover 5,000 shares there, locking in some profits. Unfortunately, though, not getting a full fill. So now I got 9,000 shares. Still up unrealized, but I don't get the full fill. I was hoping that it was going to bounce a little bit and then reject below that 20 level and then halt to the downside and open lower, but that didn't happen. End up getting out of about 6,000 shares there. I still got 9,000 shares left, but you can see I'm back up $17,000, basically scaling in and then taking that loss to get that average up. My average now 21.37. And then getting that reject there off of 23. Didn't get a full fill there because I wanted that 20,000 shares there at 23. But again, SSR, short sell restriction, making it difficult to get filled. So I got a partial there. This thing's going to bounce back up. I wanted it all out there at 20. That was a nice win, and I wanted the chance to re-hit. That would have been better. So fills were tough today, man. Fills were tough for sure. You see me two times there on this stock. Not getting filled, and they proved costly in this little sequence. But that's the nature of playing with size, man. Sometimes when you're playing with size, it's tough to get filled. Now the stock's back over 23. Let's see if it rejects 23. I still got bullets to add, obviously. 9,000 shares. I covered 6,000 shares. Going to try to recycle those shares. And this is how you work your way out of a bad spot, guys. I was down, but I just kept calm, kept cool. Manage a bad position. Again, at one point, I was down $40,000 on a long. Got out of that for a small loss. Now flipping short, making money on the short. I'm down unrealized at the moment. You'll see how I get out of it, though. But to be completely honest, had I gotten filled on that long, I wouldn't have been stuck in that $40,000 loss position. That was just a bad spot. Should have just whacked it out. And also the same thing with the short there on that 20 wash. So I could have been up already about $40,000 had I gotten filled on those trades. So, a little bit slow on the trigger. Sometimes it happens. And then it's all about managing you know, the spot that you're, the situation that you're being presented with at that moment. So the stock's now stalling again around this 22 area. 23 again, that resistance for now. I'm not adding to the position just yet. It's back to 20 again. I'm up unrealized. Right now I'm basically looking for that 20 flush down to $19. Still dance around this area. Don't have a full position. Again, I still got some room to add. Again, don't be freaked out by the big realized numbers, guys. You know, I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for a while. I'm comfortable with this position. Obviously, most people, this stuff isn't for the faint of heart, these type of swings. But I've been doing this for some time. I'm used to these 5-figure numbers. It's not phasing me. Although those no fills earlier did piss me off a little bit. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, try to add a short there over 23. Looking for that wick back reject. Actually stopped out of there, actually. Yeah, stopped out. I stopped out of 5,000 shares there, so now I'm only in 4,000 shares because it looked like it was going to break toward 25. So my bad on that one. I actually stopped out. But then I re-added because it looked like it was going to lose 23. So it looked like it was going to be a fake out. So I tried to re-add there at 23. Only got a partial. So I stopped out there thinking that I might go to 25 just to reduce the risk a little bit. So now I'm back only up $6,000, but right now I'm trying to re-add back in because it looks like it's probably going to be a fake out. Not getting a full fill though. Again, like I said, because of the SSR is making it difficult to get filled. So now I'm back in 12,000 shares, 22.18 average. Again, it's a lot more easier to deal with it this time around because look at the stock's a lot closer to my average. Right now, I'm basically looking for that clean 23 reject. The stock's kind of fizzled out at 23 several times already. Not able to sustain a move over 23. I'm looking for a breakdown of 22 down to $20. 22 bids. This is the last stand right here at 22. Let's see if it holds. A couple down ticks there on the offer. 22s. Keep an eye on this one. Here we go. Again, now the stock's dancing at my break even. It's a lot more comfortable to hold this. You see, it's all about getting that average up, recycling the shares. Again, I'm not doubling down. I'm recycling the same shares, taking losses when I have to, and positioning myself with a good average for the inevitable move back down. Again, you have to be able to observe what is the right overall big picture trade. This one's a dead cat bounce short. Stock dropped. Earlier I was looking for the bounce, the dead cat bounce. Now after the dead cat bounce is starting to fizzle out, I'm looking for the reject and then a short back down. So that's the big picture idea. It's all a matter of just positioning your trade and then getting yourself ready for that big move to make that big money. So right now, again, 22.18 average. Watch those 22 bids. You see the stack right here. This is a bids after stack that I'm looking for to cause that downside pressure. 22 is getting whacked at. See, now 22s are lost. Down tick right away at 21.97. I'm up on the trade now. I was at 1 point down. Look at that. 5 figs. Now I'm looking for a test of that 20 level earlier where I didn't get filled. Watch these 21s to see if there's any buyers there to support it. Nope. Instantly whacked out. 22.5 on the bid. I'm up $20,000. See if these 20s hold. 20s last stand here. Halt levels at 20.02. Halts. Stock's about to halt. I'm up $26,000. There you go. Now it's halted. So I decided to hold this through the halt just because it looked like a clean reject. There's a lot of meat for this thing to gap down to $16. I was willing to take that chance now that I'm up, $2 over $2 a share on 12,000 shares. Again, it's all about having the confidence and the conviction and recognizing the overall big picture trade and having no hesitation to stop out when you have to and eat those losses. Because look what happened. I stopped out and now I'm going to be paid really nicely because I'm positioned nicely with appropriate sizing for my account size, and I didn't just double down to like 50, 60,000 shares or something, and then that would have been a blow up potential. So it's all about being smart, recycling the same shares. I wasn't going to go over 20,000 shares in this trade, either the long or the short side. I would have just kept recycling until I got the right price, the right average for the real move. Now stock's halted, and we'll see what happens here on the resumption. All right. So again, I'm looking for a gap down. And I'm going to probably take it off on the resumption. So here's a resumption. Nope, 10-minute halt. So we're going to fast forward that as well. Sometimes the stock halts for 10 minutes again, guys, because it's opening below that 10% level. So let's see if it resumes here. Yep, there it goes. So now the stock is opened at $19. So it gapped down another $1. I'm up $32,000, guys. That's insane, isn't it? Covered all out. $40,000 in profits, guys. Isn't that crazy? So that's how you flip the situation. That's how you flip the script. All about recognizing and having the conviction and knowing the overall big picture. Sometimes you're in early, sometimes it's a trial and error process. But if you bail out and you panic sell, you're gonna miss the real move, right? If you jump in a little bit too early and you keep doubling down, sometimes you run out of buying power, so you're stuck with too many shares at a bad average. But if you recycle the shares, you still have the ability to catch the real move, still with appropriate size. You're not doubling down. You're not going to run out of buying power because you're already predetermined what your max position size is going to be. For me, it was 20,000 shares. I never exceeded it, as you saw. And eventually, I was paid really nicely for it. This entire episode, at one point, I was down 40,000 unrealized. And now I'm up at $40,000 net on the entire day. I made $35,000 on that short trade. APT, shorting that dead cat bounce. It bounced from 16 up to 23. That's a 7-point move, almost a 50% bounce. Then getting that reject down to $19 off of that halt. So that's how you do it, guys. Just scaling in, scaling out, recycling shares, just predetermining your max size, and then just kind of like stopping out when you have to, and then re-adding when you recognize that there's a top forming in, and then just keep doing that, and then you'll be in for the big payday. So that's how you do it. So now I'm up $40,000 on a day. That's probably one of my last trades. I do make one more trade. So we're going to wrap up this video shortly. But that ended up being the bottom tick cover too. That was so sick. Look at that. Now it's back to 21. So what a cover that was. Covering it there. What was it, like 3 points? Off 12,000 shares. So nailing that cover there. So now it's bouncing back towards 22. So I would have given up everything, and I got greedy there. So great cover there in the halt resume. Nailing it for 3 points. Back to $23. Would have been down in the position now. But I'm sitting pretty now, sitting up $40,000 on a day. Final trade here, I believe, on AHPI. One more scalp. There's only a couple more minutes in this video. Just looking to short this pop because the stock's also made a bounce. Kind of a similar setup. 16 bounce to 25. There's resistance here around 27. Obviously, liquidity is an issue here, so smaller size trade on this one. So I'm short 500 shares here at 25.8. Against that 27.5 level. Again, liquidity, the spread's nasty on HPI, so gotta be a lot smaller. I was in 12,000 shares on APT because it's a lot more liquid, but this one is barely printing any shares, so you gotta go a lot smaller. Trade relative to the liquidity. There it goes, covering it there. Another $1,000-something. I'm up $41,000, 41.5 on the day. What a crazy, crazy day. Rejecting there, almost downside halting. 25 down to 23s. I think I filled there at 23.1 or 20, whatever it was. So making a nice little pop short opportunity there, a little wallet powder off 500 shares. So I think that's the last trade of the day. So we're going to go ahead and stop the video right here, guys. Hopefully you guys learned a thing or two. That's my $40,000 day. I made a couple other trades, which I didn't get on tape, unfortunately. I finished the day at $46,000. Got a couple more scalps on, a couple more trades, but what a crazy day, guys. It was always going to be an epic day with the way things were gapping up with these coronavirus stocks. I think there's going to be more action like this. It wasn't always smooth sailing, as you saw, but hopefully you guys picked a thing or two from getting out of a bad position. Again, we're not always going to be perfect. That's just the nature of how trading is going to be. We're not going to always be perfect. We're always going to sometimes get that bad FOMO type entry, bad average. What do you do when you end up with a bad average, right? If you still believe that you are going to eventually get the right direction sooner or later, right? The stock's probably going to bounce because it's dropped like 60%. You know, you don't want to like stop out, and then when you stop out of everything, it bounces without you, right? So the way around that is you just simply just recycle those shares and then work your way out of it. You saw how I did it live on this tape. Just study this. Maybe you guys can, you know, figure out how you can manage this situation the next time you're presented with it. Again, though, had APT drop below that $16 area and not reclaimed, I probably would have just eaten the entire loss, because if you look at the APT chart, and we go back a little bit actually. If you look at APT right here, you see APT chart right here at $16. That's the low of yesterday. So if we cracked below $16, it probably would have dumped more, because all of these people that bought from today and all of these people bought from yesterday are going to be underwater. So the longs are going to be in some big pain. It's going to dump. So $16, $17 was the final bounce spot. So when you're doing this type of stuff, you have to determine where is the absolute last possible stock, the last possible spot the stock is going to bounce from. In this case on APT it was $16. On Codex the bounce spot was around 10, 11. You got to identify that stuff. Same thing on the reversal. My reversal spot was, I think this thing was going to bounce toward 25. There's a chance it might have gone to 30, but more likely around that 25 area. So I was basically recycling shares up until 25. On the long side, I was recycling shares up until around $16, $17. And if it went below those levels or above that level, in the case of the short side, you just got to eat it, because, you know, you don't want to get stuck when everyone else is heading for the exits at once. Once the masses are headed for the exits at once, it's going to just dump so hard, you're not going to be able to get out. So always have an absolute stop where you stop trying to recycle the shares. But if you've got a high level of conviction that you're going to get the right direction sooner or later, but it's just tough to pick where the actual bottom is going to be, hopefully this video shows you guys how you can do that. But overall, what a day, guys. $46,000, $80,000 in 2 days. More of this action probably in the next couple weeks or so. March, April, traditionally really good months. I've made 6 figures in March and April consecutively for like the last 3 years. So I'm looking forward to another 6-figure month. What a crazy month February has been. February traditionally is a slower month, and I don't even know how much I made. I didn't even check. $150,000, $200,000. Probably one of my best months of all time, if not my best month ever. The Corona stock's definitely given us a nice little pleasant surprise in terms of trading opportunities. So a lot more to come in terms of opportunities coming for March and April. So let's go ahead and knock it out of the park, guys. So again, if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you guys traded these stocks as well. APT, HHPI, Codex, all that stuff. How much money do you guys make? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. Again, follow me on Twitter if I'm not posting YouTube videos, because these YouTube videos take a long time to make. I'm doing this all myself, recording, editing, processing, rendering, filming, all that stuff. I'm doing it all by myself. It takes a lot of time. It takes the entire day, and I really don't have the luxury of just making videos that often. Just follow me on Twitter. I do post there very often. If you guys want to take it a step further, just join me in my trading community at madazmoney.com. I'm live on the mic, calling out my trades, doing live analysis, tape reading, charts, all that stuff every single day, live on the mic for several hours. The last couple of days I've been on for the entire day because the action's been epic the entire day. So if you guys want to check that out, listen to what I have to say about these stocks live, calling out these trades live on the mic. Check it out, madazmoney.com. Follow me also on Instagram, of course, all the shenanigans I go on there in my life. And thanks a lot, guys, for another awesome video here on the Madaz Money YouTube channel. And we will see you guys next time.